that principle or that value is the whole reason that we have these free consultations that we call what's next calls, right? Because we want to educate individuals, we want to learn about your situation, and then we're going to be able to provide some information to you to help you build some confidence in your next steps. And every time we do this education, the almost verbatim, the answer is, okay, what do I do next, right? And we make some recommendations on next steps. And hopefully you leave with confidence on what those next steps are.
Hello, you are listening to the Saltcast by Peisner Johnson, the sales tax people. And for the last 30 plus years, we have been providing sales tax solutions and peace of mind to everyone we talk to.
In its 30-year history, and what's kept you here. And Danny, you as well. I want to know, what keeps you guys here, and what our values are, and why we do what we do.
It's a really good question, right? In today's world, a lot of people want to have you identify your why, and that can drive you and move you forward. And obviously, so next week will be our 31-year anniversary as a firm. And in September will be my 27th year anniversary of working here. And my why when I started working here was just to get a introduction into the accounting world. I was working on my accounting degree and started working here, but I grew from a staff assistant to a staff to a senior to a manager to a senior manager to a principal to a partner and on and on and on. And your why can change as you learn things along the way and in the process. And today my why is all about helping other people. And when I say that, people are like, yeah, okay, you want to help other people. But legitimately, we have this principle we call we over me. And I heard someone recently say, yeah, it's really important to understand which ego you're using when you're working with individuals. Is it the we go or me go? Which I really liked. And you can see the evidence of it in a show, a conference like AICPA Engage, because you have a bunch of exhibitors out on, I don't know if it's tens of thousands of square feet or 100,000 square feet, but it's a gigantic conference center at the Aria, right in the middle of the Strip in Vegas. And you've got exhibitors, you've got all these booths, um, 10 by 10, and there the effort there obviously is to meet people and try to sell what you do or to connect and be a value add to CPAs or accounting firms and things like that. And anytime that you're meeting people and interacting, it's either about the transaction or it's about the relationship. It's difficult for it to be both. It can be both, but it really should start with relationship. So when you're interacting in a conference like that, the mindset when you think of we go or me go is what about you or what about me, right? You can be a booth that's what about me, what about me, what am I going to get out of this? Very transactional. Or you can have a what about you mentality, which is our typical mentality. We want to learn about you. We want to know about you. We want to know where you work, what you're about, how long you've been there, what your experience has been like in the market. We also want to educate on sales tax issues. We're not just there to try to close you on business. And so when we talk about when you help other people, you help yourself, the real effort there is building relationship first and then finding how what we do can bring you greater peace of mind, especially as it relates to sales and use tax, because that's our expertise. And my why really is helping people because we talk about it a lot. Sales tax is a margin killer. It can kill a deal in a merger and acquisition. We talk to people all the time who are setting up very large escrow accounts to manage the sales tax responsibility they had and didn't comply with. It also can shut down businesses. we love the opportunity to provide assistance that can help somebody stay in business who is facing, kind of a mountain of sales tax exposure or responsibility that they just weren't aware of, they just didn't understand, and also helping companies learn how to comply now in a very complex um, environment be- because of having to deal with multiple states, which companies haven't had to do until Wayfair as much as they're doing now.
That's really cool. I remember um, when I was just starting college and I hadn't decided what I wanted to do yet. And of course, Andy, my dad, was like, "Well, you should go into accounting. You should give that a shot." Like, I don't know. It's like it really sounds boring what you do. I just can't. I don't know if I can fathom. I want to do something more exciting. And then I remember um, Andy needed me to go take some mail to the office in Dallas, and we were living an hour and a half away, so it was a pretty big deal for me. Drive all the way up there. You need to give it to me to get this mail to Jerry, one of the founding partners, and so he sat me down for like an hour talking to me. He's like, "What are you gonna do? What's your plan?" I'm like, "I don't know." It's like I really want to help people and do something kind of exciting. And so he just explained to me, he's like, "That's exactly what we do. We help people." And a lot of the times they're in some dire situations. They really need some help, or they're about to lose their business and lose their livelihood. And we can really get in there and help a lot. And so that really sparked that interest and decided to go into accounting and endure it. And it's been very rewarding. And I really enjoy uh, what I do because of that conversation I had with Jerry.
Yeah, I think in the
Yeah,
past,
there's some
oh, go ahead.
there's really some almost kind of comical uh, you know messaging around this, in the sense of, like, I'm sure people would listen to us talk about sales tax and and not just our passion, but really this discussion around how much we really help people. And there's, like, it could sound silly, right? I can see that. Certainly for me, 7 years ago, leading up to joining Peisner, like, I would have been just like, great. If someone said that, something about sales tax, I'd be like, great, you're collecting tax, and you know, what really are you doing to change the world? And it's, but as you go to, I mean, tying this even into the experience we just had at the show, is like, you understand, and I talked about this on our firm-wide meeting yesterday, of like, you talk to people in the accounting and the financial world, which is what that conference was full of, right? Just people in the industry of, financial and accounting practices and softwares and everything, related to those industries. And people really do hate sales tax, and it's
Yeah,
for a good reason. If you talk about just the connection to people's work, people's businesses, and ultimately how all things we do are connected in some way, shape, or form. Right. And that's something that's really been in my awareness lately, just very much at the forefront of my mind and thoughts, is like, if people really are stressed about sales tax, one of our favorite lines at a show specifically, as people are walking by and we're meeting people, is, does sales tax keep you up at night? Well,
hmm
your mental health, your physical health, right? Your engagement with your work, how you feel at work, how you feel about your business, like, all of these things matter. And ultimately, sales tax can be something that's, you know, a wedge, you could say. It's a thorn, it's a sliver, right? All these things that could be like, really have an effect on you, no matter how small they are. Sales tax can be one of those things that is really affecting you in more ways than you can even understand as it affects you. And so the sales tax piece absolutely matters, and it really is something that's cool to be a part of, to, help people take that off their plate and do exactly what we say we want to do: bring peace of mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna create a new slogan for our company, which is helping companies and trusted advisors find peace of mind when it comes to sales tax, and we're changing the world. No doubt about it. No doubt
You
about
know,
it. There were a
I
ton of people we met who, when they learned we were the sales tax people, they said, "Oh, I hate sales tax.
yeah,
Uh, it's a burden."
that's really awesome. I think, Jason, that I'm going to take that slogan and I'm going to make that our podcast intro so that everybody can hear.
Another principle we have, which I think brings greater confidence and also some peace of mind, is just this concept that we preach, and we even have it on a wall in one of our large processing areas in our St. George office. It says collaboration builds confidence. And I've shared this with several people, but just sharing it here, any decision I make personally or professionally, I'll do some research, I'll think it out, I'll work it out, I'll walk it out, so to speak. Your mind can really achieve a lot of clarity when you're just out walking. If you're a runner, a lot of runners will talk about the clarity they get when they're out running, hitting the pavement. But in the process of making decisions, as I do all of that, I always end up collaborating or sharing that information with other trusted individuals who can give you a nod, or they can give you a different perspective, or they can give you some different insights about what you're working through. Every time I collaborate, it gives me greater confidence in the decision that I'm making, and making it boldly and going forward with whatever I'm going to do. And it's the whole purpose. That principle or that value is the whole reason that we have these free consultations that we call what's next calls, right? Because we want to educate individuals. We want to learn about your situation, and then we want to be able to provide some information to you to help you build some confidence in your next steps. And every time we do this education, the almost verbatim, the answer is, okay, what do I do next, right? And we make some recommendations on next steps. And hopefully you leave with confidence on what those next steps are, right? Whether we're engaged transactionally or not, our hope is that you leave with greater confidence and peace of mind on those next steps. So the free consultation is called a what's next call. It's kind
Yeah,
of a cheesy name, but its purpose is to really help you gain confidence in what the next steps might be for you.
I had an experience with this yesterday morning. Jumped on a call with a company that I've been on. It's probably the third time I've been on a call with them, maybe the fourth. And because at some point they hired a CFO. Originally, I talked to like one of the founders, right? And they have a complex business model that involves vendors, and involves their platform. And I'll spare you all the deep details, but essentially, just it really is a complex model, especially when it comes to who should be collecting the tax. How should we do that, right? Like, what's a practical way for us to even set up sales tax collection on our platform? And so we have the initial discussion, and then he learns enough. This founder learns enough to know, like, yeah, I need to collaborate, right, with my co-founder, and we need to talk to Danny about this and get all the information. So we have another call, and then at some point they hire a CFO, and through all this they're talking to vendors and working through it, and they thought they did make a decision really on taking some steps, right? So we had these what's next calls, and the beauty of it is they knew what was next and they made a decision, and then other problems pop up, because ultimately the decision they made was kind of backfiring. It wasn't the ideal decision, and so we came back together yesterday with both founders and their CFO, and just talked through more of the issues they were facing with vendors, kind of pushback from vendors on this tax rate versus that tax rate and how they're doing it. And the short of it is like we are able to collaborate all of us together at once, have a discussion, talk about all of the different options that they have. And as I put it to them, and the kind of the light bulb went off was, we're going to talk through this, and we ultimately did talk through like, here are all the different options you have. One of which is going to be, here is the most correct way for you guys to handle sales tax. And then we talk through other scenarios, and something we talk about on almost every call is, you need to find the intersection between perfect compliance and a practical business approach for you. And it always, that always really rings true. And like I said, kind of lights them up in the sense of like, okay, I don't need to do this perfectly, but I need to know how to do it perfectly and all the other options I have. And then of course, with that, consider what the practical business approach and even the options that I have for a practical business approach. And, now you have the right options in front of you to do that. And it's interesting that you tying this into even our experience at a conference. This happens even in like short conversations sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And you go down that path of like, I know you hate sales tax, or you've had this issue, right? People bring up these issues, and you just start talking through it, even in a 5-minute conversation. And it really, like, information is super powerful, right? And that's one
Yeah,
of the
for
things
sure.
that most people lack. And it's certainly a challenge for us, that we take on and that we embrace. And like you said, Par, like, that's a big part of the collaboration, is even these one-on-one conversations light us up too, where we can
Yeah.
provide some information, and that give them that power of understanding all the options. And then, you know, even if it provides some peace of mind, just, for that day after we talk to them, like, there's some value in that. And again, something I shared with our team yesterday of like, it might sound silly, but the value that real solid sales tax consulting and support brings is tough to measure, if not impossible to measure in some cases. And this is all very circular, coming back to the point of, Ryan, even how you start out with this call of like, what's our why, and what makes us tick, and what makes me stay here at Peisner and appreciate what we have, and ultimately just have constant gratitude, to be a part of this. Like, all of those things, right, that I just mentioned and ran through are ultimately a huge part of what keeps me here and keeps me engaged.
Yeah, those are beautiful examples, and it helps us overcome. One of the things that people say back to us is that they feel like we're authentic, and I think it's because we put our time and our effort where our mouth is, right? And what I mean by that is that sometimes it can seem so gimmicky, right? Listen, I'm really important and I have really good information, so if you want to talk to me, you're going to have to pay a consultation fee. Well, I really just need to know about this, or whatever the case may be. It could be minor, it could be major. Uh, sorry, you're going to need to fill out this form, and you're going to have to pay money if you want to talk to me because I'm really important. That's the me go. That's the what about me mentality, and that's the transaction mentality. And it doesn't match our culture and who we really are. We're truly about educating and helping other people. Some of our best reviews online come from individuals who come to a What's Next call, our free consultation, and we talk through their situation. They don't really need what we provide, but they leave with great confidence and peace of mind on next steps for themselves. And we're perfectly happy with that. And they give us phenomenal reviews because we've developed a relationship, not based on the transaction. This person doesn't have value because they're going to transact. And if you're not going to transact, then I don't even want to talk to you, right? The value is in the relationship, the education, the confidence, the peace of mind that comes from that. We really have an abundance mentality that there's plenty of opportunity to help people. And when you do, you truly will help yourself in the end in that process. But that's the better approach, is the outward effort to help other people. It'll come back around in this abundance mentality because we do provide, I think, best class sales tax services. And we can really help people overcome really difficult challenges and complexities that really keep them up at night. Not not just in saying that in theory. They legitimately lose sleep because they think they could lose their business or personally go to jail, um, because they simply didn't understand the new landscape since Wayfair and what their responsibilities might be. So we just want to help you know what those are. And then if you need our help, we would love to do that. But if you don't, maybe you don't even need to comply yet. A lot of times people walk away from a what's next call and have confidence now that I was really worried about something that I don't need to worry about yet. And I know that I have a resource that I can go to as we grow and when I might need to do something to comply in a different way. So we just love that. We love that opportunity.
Guys, I really appreciate you guys coming on and giving these stories and really give a sense to our listeners what we're about. And I think that's really important. So, guys, thank you again for being on, and we hope to see you on another one.
Catch you later, Ryan.